Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Black Pack Homestead. Today on the homestead we're going to be looking at this peach tree behind us. I thought I could get away with another year of not trimming it up. I was using it for rabbit shading and whatnot, but should have trimmed them up because now I got all this fruit and it's substantially more this year than we have had in previous years. And I'm thankful for it, but I'm afraid it's going to break the tree down, guys. Let's take a look at it. So this tree is about, what, maybe 6 years old?
No, it's pretty much 10 years old. We've lived here 12 years, and we did this probably the second year we lived here. So yeah, it's 10 years old.
Yeah, so I know with our fruit trees, it's hit and miss. We're getting lots of apples coming in right now, like the peaches here. And, but yeah, we had a big rainstorm. And it just, guys, all that added weight just from the rain alone has got me a little concerned. So what I've done is I took some wood here that I found at work.
Walk closer to it so I can get it in there with you.
Got some of these beams right over there that I'm using to kind of hold my branch up to alleviate some of that weight. It's not the best solution in the world, but it's what I have.
And we use what we have on the homestead.
We could take some fruit off of this and take some of the weight off of it. That has yet to be determined on if we're going to do that or not. We may have to, but guys, the peach, of all the trees that have been producing for us, the peach has actually been the most productive. It was supposed to be a plum tree, and we couldn't tell where the graft started and ended there. And we liked it. We're thankful that it happened to us. It was a blessing in disguise. And every year for the last couple of years, we've been getting peaches off this thing.
More than plums, for sure.
More than plums.
See, this is the plum part. As you notice, there aren't any plums. And then this leader coming right up the middle. Peach tree. And peach tree. Peach tree. So there's more peach tree than there is plum tree.
In the plum's defense, we did have a winter storm come through, and they don't bloom exactly at the right time. The plum bloomed first, and then the other afterwards. But
so the peach bloomed after.
Peach bloomed after.
The plum did, and the plum got in the late frost.
Yeah, that's pretty much how that worked out.
What other kind of fruit trees do we have, Chris?
We have pears. We got two different kinds of pears.
Let's look at those pears.
Yeah, this pear tree here is probably one of the older trees on the property. We haven't had a lot of pears in the last couple of years, but we've probably got a couple dozen on this one this year. You remember that first year we got pears?
Yep.
We had two pears on the tree, and one of them fell off and I mowed it over, and I was really sad about it. The other one we got, it was a little itty bitty, and I told Marella, I says, do you think it's going to be any good? She's like, no, I don't think it's going to be any good. And I'd taken that little pear and put it on the windowsill, and it softened right up, and we were just like loving it. It was this big. It was the best pear. It was just an itty bitty little pear, and it was just a great experience to know it grew for me, even if it was that big, you know.
Do you have to have two pear trees?
I think it's recommended, but I'm pretty sure to, they come better in pairs.
Well, because they help they help pollinate each other is what I'm trying to get you to say. If you're gonna have a pear tree, you must have two. There's one pear tree, one's a Bartlett, one's a Kiefer, have no clue which one's which.
Bartlett.
Okay, this is the Bartlett, and it's the one with the pears on it. He bloomed early, late frost, and he's had some kind of disease going on that we've not been able to remedy, not even quite sure what it is. But we haven't had pears off him in a while either, and we won't get any this year.
I don't think we've ever had pears off this one.
Really?
I don't think
Always
so.
the Bartlett, not the Kiefer?
If it's having problems, it's probably moisture or fire blight. But
it looks better right now than it did.
That cold spell just absolutely decimated it. It's just now recovering from that cold. That one fared a lot better than this one did.
This one bloomed like 2 weeks before that one bloomed.
But I wish it would, because this is the pear that I really enjoy.
The Kiefer.
The Kiefer.
Well, maybe next year. We'll just have to wait and see. We need to prune them this year terribly bad. But anyway, what else is in the front yard?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Maypoling, guys. If you guys ever maypole your trees, let me know. I've been thinking about doing it. It just, yeah, just something to kick around and think about. That way your tree is bent down in a way that you train it, and you don't have to climb for your fruit, really. That's why I'm very thankful the peach kind of broke down a little bit, because I can pick all the peaches off of it and not have to.
From the front yard.
From the front yard.
That's pretty
They're
crazy.
not 20 feet up in the air. They're,
Yeah.
reachable for the most part.
All right, what other fruit do we have in the
What
front
other
yard?
fruit? We got figs. You want to go see the figs?
Let's go see the figs.
Let's go see some figs.
I didn't think you could grow figs here, but I have been happily surprised and learned this is one of my favorite fruits because I'd never had a fresh fig. Figs, glorious figs, so tasty and stupid car. Scrumptious. It's a pretty tree too.
Yeah, it is pretty.
Tell us about this fig there, Christopher.
You want to know about the fig? Well, the fig has sap that will irritate your skin and lips if you were to eat it and not have ripe fruit. It's just, you break it off, you'll know it when you see it's a milky sap. But figs are one of the oldest trees known, or one of the oldest fruit known. And there's a wide variety of tastes and just a wide variety of them. They're all different, believe it or not.
What's this one?
Yeah, this one here tastes, to me, reminds me of like watermelon.
But what's its variety?
This one here, isn't it Chicago?
Chicago Hardy.
Yeah, Chicago Hardy on this one. So we'll probably do some cuttings off these guys eventually. I've been very happy with it, and I think I may make a few more. And what else can I tell you about the fig? It's just a really great tree, and it's productive.
It produced on its first year.
Yeah, it did. I need to trim it out a bit, but yeah, it does.
I
That's
think
good.
it's a beautiful little tree.
I'm
I
happy
just
with
want to come in here among the violets and put a chair right there and come
it. Sit in your fig trees.
sit in my fig tree. Wouldn't that be neat? Because it's just like, oh, it's just made for me to sit here. Yeah, I'd probably break it. I've gained weight. Well, I've lost weight, but more than I used to weigh. See what I mean? It's just like a perfect little seat right there. But it is a gorgeous tree, and I'm thankful for it. Very, very thankful. It is only 3 years old. But it has been a blessing, I tell you. I love it. Never knew I loved fig as much as I do.
And unlike a lot of flowers and whatnot, the fig is actually the flower. It's an inverted flower. If you were to wait, it would open up and you'd have all your seeds. That's why all the seeds are on the inside like that. And it's not pollinated by bees or insects. If you consider flies, pollinators. In this case, they are.
Yep.
And
Can you tell when it's ripe?
how can you tell when it's ripe? When it's soft.
And it'll have a little hole in the bottom.
And it'll have a little hole in the bottom, and the hole will be open. There's two different kinds of figs, and one could have the fly in it, and one couldn't. But generally, the ones that you get anywhere, like in the stores and whatnot, the fly is already left and gone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would have never really ripened.
Yeah, that's what I tell myself anyway.
Yeah. There's the things that pollinated are, and it's a wasp actually, I think.
I think it might be.
I
think
thought it was a
wasp.
fly for a long
Yeah.
time till
I
we
think you're
got a
right, it is a
fig and
wasp.
we watched documentaries on figs, and I learned that it was a
It's
wasp.
a wasp. I'm sorry. You're right.
And
It is a wasp.
they are microscopic, like the eggs and everything, because the wasp itself is going to leave once it lays its eggs.
Yeah.
So you would never know it was
that
there.
hole, it knows the exact time when that hole opens up. It's the size that wasp needs to get in.
Exactly the
You're
right size. And the fig will start to turn darker and like a brownish color and start cracking. And when you start seeing your fig crack, grab it and eat it because
Yeah.
it's perfect.
When it gets soft and crackly on the outside, you'll know. Yeah, you'll know.
Can't wait. This fall, you'll get to see.
Like a bird on a tree.
We have two apple trees in our backyard. One, the healthiest one, is an Anna apple, and I've never eaten an Anna apple. Don't know if I like an Anna apple. We've never really gotten an apple. Every year, this is the second year it's set, you know, good fruit. This is probably its 10th or 11th year. Because they came before, no, those came before these. So this is probably, yeah, their 10th year. So the Anna apple I knew nothing about. The reason I wanted, when Chris said, I got an Anna apple, and I'm like, oh, cool, it's like named after Annie, because we call Anamala Annie or Anna. So it's Annie's tree. And it is covered right now with fruit. We're gonna have to be really careful and keep an eye on it, because what happens is one day you're like, no, not quite yet, and you'll come out the next day and you'll find one apple on the ground, half eaten by a squirrel, a rabbit, a deer, who knows? And we didn't get any apples, and it was a normal size, you know, smallish apple, but for us, that was pretty good. So hopefully this year we'll beat them falling, because that's when you know it's time to pick, really, is that when they start to fall. So we've got to gauge that, because if you pick them too early, they're not as sweet, and apples sometimes seem complicated to me. But anyway, that's our Anna apple tree. We have another apple tree, and I'm going to let Chris talk about Mr. Stamen Wine Sap.
Alright, what we have here is a Stamen Wine Sap apple. It's a pretty good apple. Marella's not crazy about the apple tree.
I love them.
She doesn't like this tree. And it's done better this year than it has in the past. It really struggled. And a lot of that is just, you know, it takes a while for sometimes trees to get established. But it's finally in there. It's looking best this year than it has in a long, long time.
Because it got a disease.
Well, yeah, we've been treating it with copper sulfate and a few other things, but kind of a hodgepodge of stuff to ward off any kind of, you know, bacterial or fungus on there.
Because we think it was a fungus that comes from a mushroom that grows.
Spot,
there you go.
You get black spot. You get the disease from the
oak tree.
From the oak tree.
The mushroom, a mushroom that grows on the oak tree. It's spores that gives the apple tree the virus.
But the nature of this tree is a lot different than this one here. This is a bigger apple tree. It's a full-size apple tree. The apples will get off of it are significantly larger than you would get from a wine sap. But I like the wine sap apple. I still think it's a good apple.
I love wine sap apples. They're big. It's one that grows really well around here. But I also had a bad bowel obstruction because I ate a whole Stamen wine sap apple. And I peeled it, but it's too much apple at one time. So it is my favorite apple, but I want to replace this tree, and Chris does not.
I'd leave it.
He just wants to leave it. I'm like, we're never going to get apples off of it. It's not going to happen. It's pitiful. We're even afraid to prune it. It's that pitiful. But the oak, it gets this mushroom spores give virus. But the cool thing is that the Anna apple has not been affected. And I'm sure that is because the mycorrhizal fungi Mr. Stamen told Miss Anna through the mycorrhizal grapevine, hey, I got a virus coming. You better protect yourselves. Because trees tell each other about conditions and viruses, and then that tree can make something like, I don't know, some kind of antifungal property increases in the tree, and then that tree in turn does not get that virus. So it's pretty amazing that we've got a virus tree and a non-virus tree, and that just shows you how they talk to each other.
But these have been treated, so that's probably why that one didn't get it and this one didn't. It eventually fought it off.
Leave me alone. I like the mycorrhizal fungi told it, and the tree protected itself because
they do talk to each other.
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
Gosh, so difficult sometimes. But anyway, yes, we have treated them, but it's all been organic. We've not done any non-organic treatments to our trees or anything on our garden or on our grass or any of that. So yes, they have been sprayed with organic treatments for these things, but I'm sure that Stamen knew he had the virus before we did. And he told her through the mycorrhizal grapevine. See, and I can say mycorrhizal today. So, wah. So that is pretty much I was gonna say it's pretty much our fruit trees, but do bushes count?
I don't know. Do you want to do bushes?
Or do bushes?
It is a fruit.
Okay, so it's fruit, perennial fruit that grows on our farm. So now let's go look at the blueberries. I know you've seen them before, but they're gorgeous, and Chris can tell you all about them. Meet you down at the blueberries.
All right, guys, we're down here in the blueberry patch. We got about 4 plants here. We got one on the end that isn't quite as big. And I'm gonna give you guys a tip. In this mysterious can right here, we have some coffee grounds that are grounds for probably a week for me and Marella probably. And blueberries love it acidic. The more acidic it is, the better off you'll be. It's not one of those plants that you really have to worry about, getting it too acidic because it loves it. But I'm gonna apply this to some of these bushes, and I don't know if I should sprinkle it around or just kind of douse one with it.
I'd sprinkle it and share the love.
I'll share the love. We'll share the love.
Yeah, that's always a good
let's
thing.
do it.
All right, go to it, baby. Shake, shake, shake it, Christopher. Shake it all the time. Shake, shake, shake those grounds till it's party time.
We'll pull this
That's
one
all
out.
we got.
I'm gonna sprinkle it around here.
Yeah, see if you can get more out of it.
We would have had twice, 3 times the amount more probably.
Yeah, if it had not set blooms early, because you can look right here. This is where it set those early blooms, just like the kefir pear and the plum, and they got by that frost. But it wasn't totally in full bloom, thank the Lord, because if you look underneath this leaf, it flowered again, and there is the results, blueberries. And there are way more than I ever imagined we would get this year. I mean, this one is just clustered. Look at that.
Like I said, love it. A lot of organic matter in the soil, and they like it very acidic. So if you don't meet those 2 criteria, you'll probably not be able to grow blueberries very well. It's a North America thing, and back in the day when they really started cultivating blueberries, they're like, I got the perfect spot for this. And come to find out, they put it in there and it would just die. They just wouldn't have any luck with it because they didn't know what they were working with. Very happy with the blueberries. You can probably get 7 pounds, 8 pounds of blueberries off a good bush.
Yep.
Just one bush.
And these are high bushes.
High bushes. We do not have very good luck with the low bushes. I just don't like them. High bushes is the way to go.
So now that is the blueberries. I'm going to take you over past the raking pin and the silky pin and the rabbit hat and show you what we have created from wild china berries, wine berries, they're called. Some people call them red caps. They're those little tiny wild berries that taste like raspberries but better.
So good.
And so we had some growing wild behind the rabbit, and we have over the years trained them over and stuck them in the ground. He's dug up a couple or just, made cuttings and put them in the ground. And we now have a proper berry thicket. So yeah, let's go check that out. Oh, we had to make a pit stop because we forgot something. Our elderberry. We got this elderberry the same time we got that fig, the Chicago Hardy. And our elderberry is a red elderberry. And it does have the medicinal properties of elderberry, just not as strongly as the black does. So you would use this one the same way. Right now, I think it's fixing to flower. Let's get one over here.
That it is.
Right there. And you can eat the flowers, but the berries, they need to be processed before you eat them because they do have a toxin in them, which just means you need to boil them for a little while.
Just a little cyanide.
Just a little cyanide, that's all. So, you have to process them, which means you need to boil them for a few minutes to get the toxins out, cyanide. And you can also dehydrate them and then process them and turn them into elderberry syrup. But anyway, this is our elderberry tree, and it looks like we got some caterpillars.
Yeah, we probably do.
You need some BT.
Yep, time to hit them up.
There it is, little
Look
bitty.
at that. Those are the ones. Well, this is just a natural tree that grows out. They're mostly black is the ones that I always catch.
Which we have found a wild one nearby, and last year we didn't get to it soon enough to take a cutting. So I still want to do that.
Yeah, we'll get some black ones too. We'll have reds and blacks, but
black.
Tell these folks what they do with the flowers. Little House on the Prairie style. I'm talking about the cordial.
Oh, make an elderberry flower cordial. Yes, you can make a dessert type wine with it. You can also make a wine out of the berries. Yes, it was Anne of Green and Shirley, and they drank all the elderberry cordial.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Anne Shirley. Anne Shirley, not Little House on the Prairie. But you can make elderflower wine, you can make elderberry wine. Maybe we'll do that this summer, because Chris is quite a good beer/wine maker, so maybe we'll do some of that this summer. So that's our red elderberry bush, and yeah, that was our pit stop on the way to the China Berries Red Cap /Wineberry Thicket. Pit stop number 2. As we go to the Black Cap Thicket, we pass the comfrey, and my friend Barefoot Chickens, she wanted some wild lettuce seeds, and she needs comfrey. And I told her I'd never collected seeds, that we've only done it from rootstock. So I just was thinking about you, Barefoot Chickens, and to see if these elderberry seeds, if you can see down in this little calyx, I guess is what that would be, what's left after the flower blooms. Those little black things in the bottom, that's the seed. So I'm gonna snip off a couple of these and dry them and see what happens. I'm just gonna leave them in the calyx and let them dry just like they would on the plant. I've done that with a lot of flowers, and it seems to work better. Hey, cuckoo. You see my cuckoo? It's known as bone knit, or some people call it bone break, because it has been known to heal broken bones in a poultice. You can put it in salves, you can put it in tinctures. I do know folks that take it internally, but I'm not one of those. Because this is a really strong medicine plant. So I'm gonna put them in my pocket, and I'm gonna go put them in a paper bag and let them dry, and comfrey seeds coming your way, Barefoot Chickens.
It's a sea of China berries, y'all.
This is the China berry, wineberry, red cap, little fake raspberry, but better than a raspberry. And it has already flowered. Well, it's in the middle of it, because it's, ow, pricked.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
its little bitty teeny tiny flowers.
Yeah, look at that.
Have you never seen the flowers?
No, I'm awestruck every time I see
they're
such
so cute.
beautiful little things.
So this is the China berry, and that's the bloom. And if you look at, and since this is a wild thing, I'm going to show you how to identify it. If you flip it over, you see that white silveriness on the back. A blackberry does not have this. A black cap, any other blackberry top wild thing does not have that on the back of it. And if you notice, they are reminiscent of raspberry leaves. But yeah, this is it. And I have no berries to show you because they aren't out yet. But they are delicious, tiny.
And they make your fingers so sticky.
When you touch this plant, you look at that, it's got a furry stem. You think that would be stabby, right? It's just furry.
Yeah.
And when you touch the plant or you touch the blooms, it's sticky, especially on the blooms. Super sticky. And when you pick them, you are sticky. But you can't expect to go in and stick them in your fridge and leave them there for 2 or 3 days and then process them. This is something that either has to be processed then or the next day or frozen right away, because they will fall apart and turn to mush. I've done this. That's how I know.
Yeah.
So that is our last berry.
And how do we create more of these?
Oh, that is so simple. You have like this new growth right here. It's really tall, right? You can grab this guy. Now they do get spiky when they get bigger, but there's space, see, spiky in the thicker, bigger ones. And you'd pull him down, and you would like, see there's a crack in the ground right here. I could pull all this off and stick it just in this crack in the ground, like that, ow, like that, if you see this. And then sometimes we've tied a rope to make it stay this way. Sometimes if you bury up the stem good enough and the stem's green enough, it'll stay like that. And then you have created a whole other thicket or a whole other bush. But you can also take cuttings and root them, or as Chris did, just stick it in the ground.
Yeah.
Like, you know, a thicker, newer growth.
I'm not
cutting.
doing cuttings. I'm just gonna push it to the ground.
And that's how we've pretty much done this.
We
Let me
took
pull
very
that one
few
down.
plants and we stretched them down, and it's created a sea of these things.
Yeah, that's all of our fruit.
That's our fruit, yellow.
So stay with us and watch them grow. All right, guys, as we stand under the peach tree, we're gonna bid you adieu. Thank you for joining us here at Black Pack Homestead for this What Our Fruit Trees and Fruit Bushes Grow and What We Have. And I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you learned something.
All right, guys. We appreciate you watching this episode of Black Pack Homestead. Y'all make sure to be fruitful, and we'll see you again here at the Black Pack Homestead.
Take care, guys. God bless. We love you, and bye-bye.